Got going cutting beans over here on this triangle field about half hour ago, and Dad said they're running high 12s, low 13 on moisture. So we're gonna go ahead and start filling trucks. Now on this field there's about 27 acres, and this is the absolute worst piece that we farm, and we actually own this field. It is a pure sand hill, and I mean pure sand. It's like a literal sand dune. And he said right where he's at, way down there, that is actually the highest part of the field and the worst part of this field. And these are Pioneer 32A71s, planted I think May 1st or May 3rd when I planted them, and running 30 to 35 bushel on the highest part of the ground, and that is pure yellow sand. That's amazing. I feel by getting them in early, they set pods early, and filled them early before that dry spell hit, and I think that really helped the beans this year. So the plan is for today, we went ahead and cut those beans there in that 27 acres. Dad's headed up now in my truck to go get the fertilizer spreader and go ahead and get that spread. I'm down here on the filter strip along 1500 on the Irrigator 143 field, and I'm going to unhook the grain cart, hook up to the vertical till, because we decided that we're going to go ahead and VT that field before we drill the rye. Only because we want to try and suppress some of the weeds out there that may come up later, and we want to try and keep that field as clean as what we can, considering that we're going to keep that for cover crop seed. What we got going on today, and possibly may cut the soybean plot later. Well, I go ahead and let the 8530 warm up here. What we got done after that 27 acres, we moved over here to the field in front of our house here, and we also have the test plot back there, as you can see, both the corn and the beans. We got about 30, I would say close to 30 acres done out of this 60 acre field here, and combine sitting up there by the shed. But we had to calibrate the active yield again, but I think it's because when we calibrated it the first time, we weren't doing it correctly, because we were told differently on how to do it, and that wasn't the right method to do it. So we talked to our AMS guy, a really great guy to deal with, and he ended up getting us straightened out on it, and I'm thinking it's finally working at this point. And these beans out here are running anywhere from 35 on the poor ground to 85 on the low ground, from one extreme to the other. That's what we've been seeing on all the beans, it seems like, on our fields, and really liking them. P31A22s planted, actually first beans I planted, and April 25th, I believe, 26th. collisions out here. Better slow down and let them go by. So Dad's already fertilized the entire field. What he's doing right now is just emptying out whatever fertilizer is left in the spreader in the poorest areas to try and boost those areas up more and help those areas out better, because we know those areas are going to be where the worst yield is going to be. So just trying to help boost the yields while we have a little bit of extra fertilizer there. Might as well use it. Looks like Dad just got done. He's going to take the fertilizer spreader back up to the shed up at our house and go ahead and hook up to the grain drill, because we'll go ahead and get that rye drilled this morning while the beans are still tough. And huge shout out to CFS for letting us keep that spreader for a few more days. What the heck are those things? Looks like we got ourselves Case 8240, and not entirely sure what the heck size Challenger that is. About the same size grain cart though as what we do. Looks like the neighbors are more than likely gonna go cut beans just over west of us here. Yep, going to cut beans. Looks like that's a, wow, maybe a 40-foot head? 35, 40? Looks a little big to be a 35, but could be mistaken on that. So I just got the vertical till unhooked, and looks like Grandpa's back from taking those beans in with the blue semi. And I'm going to take the 8530 back to the farm and finally give it a good pressure washing, because it's definitely in need of some TLC. And Dad's down at Scott's right now, his best friend's, and picking up a Pro Box chute that he borrowed from us so that we can fill that drill with rye, so we can go down there and get that drilled here before we start in on cutting these beans, and more than likely getting this plot knocked out also. The house for sale across from the farm is asking $405,000. Wow. Hope somebody can buy that. Wow. It's a lot cleaner than what it was. I'll go ahead and take this back over there and get it hooked up to the grain cart and see if Dad and Grandpa are over there doing the plot. Wow. So change of plans on the plot. We're gonna cut that last. And right now we're working on finishing up this last strip in this field. And I'm gonna go up and fill the truck because this should fill the truck. And then I'm gonna run over and get Grandpa because he's over actually drilling rye right now. And I'll run over there and get him, and he can take this up to the port. And actually Cargill's working long hours Tuesday through Friday this week, so that's good. Running 8 to 8, so that's awesome. Yesterday they were 8 to 6. Normally they're only 10 to 4. This isn't gonna fill this truck. I'm only gonna get one pile on the back of this.
Alright, I'll finish going.
Okay, I'll run up and get him then. So while I'm waiting for Grandpa to get up to this end here so I can take him to the semi, straight east of us, I would say a couple miles, our dealer is running a demo combine around, a brand new S780 with a 740 FD draper and a 712 FC folding corn head. I'm hoping we get a chance at it because I wouldn't mind taking a look at a draper from John Deere because I'm open to it, Dad's open to it, Grandpa's open to it. You know, we'll consider a Deere draper only if we get a chance to look at one in our field, but I'm hoping we get a chance at it. I mean, I don't know. We've never even had a demo. The last time we had a demo, Dad told me, and it wasn't even our demo, it was just happened that it was right next to us and they let us try, like, I guess using it, or I guess they had us come out and check it out. Was back in 1983, and I think it was a 7720 combine, I want to say, I think. But so yeah, we've never actually ever had a demo from John Deere, so it would actually be pretty cool if we could get a demo from our dealer, but we'll see. So this is where the bean plot is, and right next to it we also have the corn plot. Offhand, I don't remember how many varieties of each there are out here of the corn and the bean varieties, but I got them all on my phone, so that way when we do the plot, we know which varieties we're cutting and which varieties of corn we're picking. So I guess what's left should fit all in the black semi, and then hopefully there's still room on the black semi and we can actually start in on that plot till Grandpa gets back, because after this field I have no idea where we're gonna move to. The beans over at the river are not ready, and I don't believe the beans over on Shins are quite ready yet, but I know Marv has beans there ready to go. So there might be a possibility we might be moving back over to Wanata today. Well, looks like Roger and Brett showed up. They are, those are the guys that we work with from over in Illinois, our soil test guys. Those guys are awesome to work with. We can contribute the majority of our crop yields to them. Those guys have done a fantastic job for us. Went ahead and brought the semi up here to the plot. Dad's got to square it off, and that way we can get it opened up here. And he forgot the measuring wheel, so I'm gonna go back and get the measuring wheel over at the farm, and that way we can measure the length of the plot, because that is part of the formula for determining the yield based on Pioneer's formula that they have for the yield. And I'm gonna go ahead and set the weigh wagon up and get ready to go. So right now Dad is cutting the 4th variety out here, P28A42Xs, and what we're doing is, to kind of explain for those that don't understand what we are doing, our drill is 20 feet wide and we can plant 2 varieties with the drill, 10 feet on either side. So what we do is we do 10-foot varieties of each variety for the plot. The formula that we use then includes the moisture, the pounds, and also the length and the width that we're harvesting at, and we put those all into the formula and it spits out the official yield of each variety then. What we do with each variety, we'll go ahead and record each variety. Also record the moisture from the combine and the weight recorded from the weigh wagon here. Now for those of you asking, we cannot do this with the active yield weigh scales because 1, I'm still not trusting it quite yet, and plus 2, we are not allowed to do it all based off of the active yield. We have to use the weigh wagon as a true waypoint. Then I have the length recorded here, 340, and then I don't have the width down, but it's in inches, 120 inches. So the formula for the yield is 100 minus the moisture times the pounds of grain recorded with the weigh wagon times the factor, which the factor is in the back of the sheet here, but it's 100.138, divided by the harvested length in feet, and then divided by the harvested width in inches, and that is how you produce the yield. And already we're getting in yield data. Pioneer 25A04s is at 71.99, and P28A42s is at 74.45. I guess Dad checked the beans earlier over on Shins, and those beans are ready to go. So we're moving over there right now, and hopefully cut most, if not all, of that 38 acres there. And the Rivers beans aren't ready. And I guess tomorrow we'll move over to Wanata again and start on whatever beans Marv wants us to start on. I'll have the yield data posted in the comments down below along with the moisture. Those of you that don't believe me on the yield and that we're fudging the yield, that's for you to believe. That is the true raw data that we collected, and if that's not good enough for you, I guess that's not good enough for you. But it is what it is. I try and keep these videos as raw and as truthful as I can be, and I'm gonna do the same thing with our yield data. There's no reason to sit there and lie and fudge the yield data. So again, the yield data will be posted in the description down below, so you guys can check that out if you want. I don't remember all the varieties offhand and all the yield, but I know it ranged from 60 to 77. And the moisture stayed anywhere from 11.3 to 11.5, and the highest yielder, it was Pioneer 31A22s at 77 point, I can't remember the last part, but you guys can check that out down below to see all the yield data. One thing I did forget that we have over there on Shins is our sugar plot that we did with the sugar in the insecticide boxes on the beans, with the sugar in by putting the sugar over the top of the rows on 30-inch rows. So it'll be real interesting to see what those 30-inch row sugar beans do versus the 7.5 drilled beans. And these are Pioneer 27A17s, so I feel this will be really interesting. I feel where we have the sugar plot, it'll span from high sand to low good ground, so it'll be real interesting to see what these do. Now, I'm not entirely sure if we're gonna see anything, because sadly, after we did the sugar plot, it did rain a day or two later, so I'm afraid that the sugar might not have worked on the beans. It might have washed away. We'll see though, and plus it'll be real interesting to see what 30-inch rows do versus 7.5s. This is one of the fields on the Shin farm. This back field here is 5.5, and the other side of the ditch there on the west side is about 32.5. All in all, it's about a 38-acre field. Could be 40 if there wasn't a ditch that split through here. And over there's about a 65-acre cornfield and a 75-acre cornfield that we call Porters, and the twin churches here on Shins. And this one on Shins we call the Veal Barn. Hopefully we'll get this all cut tonight, and that way we can move over to Wanata sometime tomorrow morning and get rolling on those. So everybody asks where my cameras are on the cart. I'll go ahead and show you the angles of all three of them, and then I'll get out and I'll show you guys exactly where I position them on the cart. So this is the one I have for the combine, for when we're dumping on the go. I could actually see the entire cart. This is the one I have for the truck. It's kind of hard to see because of the sun, but there's a chute down there, and I can see the entire truck everywhere in the truck where I'm dumping. And also this is a camera here on the rear. So I'll get out and I'll show you guys where I have these all positioned. The one I have for the truck, if you kind of look up there where that light is, right beside it, that's where I mounted it. It's just on a magnet. So that one's up there. And then the one for the combine is mounted on the back side of the auger there, angled enough so I can see the entire cart. That one's also on a magnet as well. And then the back one, it's just mounted right here on a magnet as well. And I just ran the cabling all along here, all alongside the cart, because they already had wiring strung along here for the lights. So I just zip tied it right to it, all the way back here. Cable is run all the way up to here, and this is a 4-way split. So there is a extra 4th cable line right there, but I don't have a 4th camera, and there's really no need to run 4 cameras on the grain cart. I mean, I could mount another one inside the cart, but really no reason to do that. And I ended up making a plug right there for the cart, for the cabling to plug into, and it runs there and runs straight up into the cab. Last year, if you followed me last year, I had a cab cam monitor that was touchscreen in there, which was awesome. I still have that. I think it's like a 9-inch LCD display that's touchscreen, and I still have that, but I ended up taking that out because this past spring I bought the auto steer for this, and I ran it all through the 2630 because you can buy a Isobus harness for the cameras, and I just ran it straight into the 2630 display. Works so much nicer because the auto steer lines are on the 2630, and might as well just have the cameras right there while you're looking at the guidance lines. Also, for those curious, the beans in the last field, in the field in front of the house, the field that we had the test plot in, those were 31A22s, the same number that topped the plot, and field average on those were 60, 65, I believe, and moisture was 11.5. Hey, Dad's coming up on the sugar plot. I think he's got about another round, I would say, till he's up on these. honestly, they look really good. I don't know how these are actually going to do, though. Right now, field average is 50, so it'll be real interesting to see how these do. I don't know, I can't remember how wide of a strip Dad ended up doing through here, because I didn't actually plant these. I was actually drilling somewhere over there on that side when Dad brought the 4430 over here with the 4-row and planted these. So it'll be real interesting to see what these make. Dad's cutting the sugar plot right now, and the drilled beans did 56, and that had no sugar on it again. And the 30-inch rows without sugar did 48, and the 30-inch rows with sugar did 55.5. So I guess this does prove that it does work, but in regards to the 30-inch rows versus 7.5s, the 30-inch rows with sugar versus the 7.5s without sugar were pretty much on par with each other. We're going to experiment with bean yields next year, because I believe the big irrigator, the Irrigator 143 field, we will end up putting soybeans on that field. So we're going to try and push soybean yields and see what we can do with that field next year. And we might end up playing with some sugar some more on that field also. Swing your auger out. There you go. Well, we just finished up this field, and this is going to wrap this video up then. So I hope you guys learned something today, and I hope you guys take value out of the yield data that I provided today. And tomorrow we're going to move over to Wanata then. At least that's hopefully the plan, or at least that's the plan right now. And move over there. Not entirely sure which field, but we kind of have a preference on where we would like to start based on that it's going to rain on Friday, I guess. So, or all day Friday, so I guess we kind of would like to start over there along 421. Tomorrow, I'm going to work on getting privacy codes put on these radios. I have never taken the time to do that. I'm going to work on getting the cameras finished up on the combine. So for those that wondered, on this 38-acre field here, the 27 A17s averaged 49.5 and tested 10.5. Thanks for watching, guys.